Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Meleti Pouliopoulos and myself, Phil Liakis, welcome to our monthly update of the St. George Memory Project. Today, we are featuring a video from our library collection of the 50th anniversary party of the Noah Auxiliary. This party was held at the Puritan Back Room in 1999. First, I'd like to thank Linda Martin for providing us with a VHS tape of this event. Thank you, Linda. And second, I'd like to thank Meleti for digitizing the video and working his usual magic to improve the picture and sound quality. At one point in the video, Linda's mom, Aglaia Martin, gives us a nice history of the Noah Auxiliary. And for those of us who are longtime members of the church, it's a chance to see many of the active members from a generation ago, many of whom are no longer with us, but hold a special place in our hearts. Today is a update meeting as well, and we'd like to remind you of some of the activities of the St. George Memory Project. First being that we'd like you to join us when you can on a Tuesday evening on Zoom from 7 to 8 p.m. to help us identify unnamed individuals in the old photos of the St. George observers. Meleti has started us on the 1962 publications, and this Tuesday, we'll be continuing to look at the pictures from the years 1963, and we'll probably get into 1964 as well. Mark your calendars for our next monthly Zoom meeting update that will take place on Sunday, March 13th, again from 1 to 2 p.m. In addition to our updates, we'll once again have a featured segment for you, and we'll get the word out before the next meeting. Our grand reopening event, originally scheduled for May 1st, is in the process of being rescheduled to the fall of this year. And that's because it was recently announced that the Greek Independence Day Parade in Boston will take place on May 1st, and we don't want to conflict with all the activities that are happening that weekend. So we have a great field trip coming up also. Meleti has done a great job in setting it up and doing all the groundwork. So I'd like to turn it over now to my friend Meleti to give us an update on all the details.
Thank you, Phil, and thank you everyone for attending. I'd like you all to know that we're recording this event. So if you have something now that asks you to accept that you're being recorded in this, please say yes. We are also broadcasting this on Facebook for the benefit of the people who could not attend, and also to let other communities know what we're doing. So that they can, if they're interested and they want to do something like this, they can contact us. So this monthly update is part of a series of monthly updates that we've been offering. We've been doing our monthly updates in person or via Zoom. We decided that these updates we would do now in the winter. We want to show the video, tell you about what the latest news is with the project, and also show you the video of the Noah Auxiliary. The Noah had formed in 1935, the men's side of it, and the auxiliary had formed in 1948, 1949. And so we'll give you a little history of that, and thank you to Linda Martin for that excellent video. A good way to reach us is by our library email, if you want to mail it to us. Also, we have a page off of the St. George homepage under About Us, St. George Memory, and you'll find us and all the links to the project. This monthly update, this session here will take about 30 minutes. Phil mentioned the Tuesday Zoom meetings. It's a separate Zoom link, and we're going through the old photos and identifying people and pictures. It's a great, great time, so I hope that you can join us for that. We also provide updates through the monthly bulletin, and the new bulletin, the deadline is Monday, and it's actually going to press. It'll be distributed in March. Here it is. This is the update that you'll see in March. We're giving you a little sneak preview. And we have a big thanks to go to Bill Hewen and to his mom, who had met last week in church. She donated a beautiful icon, a very old icon that they had in their home. It's beautifully framed, and they've donated it to the library. It's of the Archangel Michael. And so a beautiful, beautiful icon, and we appreciate that. Speaking of icons, we put the word out that we need help with photographing and photographic equipment. And George Skippertis, the president of the church, stopped by with some professional lighting that he has. And he's lending this to the library along with cameras so that we can take our pictures, not just of the icons, but of the artifacts. And what a difference this made. And Phil will tell you as well, what we saw was amazing. We're trying to reimagine this space. What is the best way to rearrange things to get in all of what we want to do? We'd like to set up a projector and a screen so that we can give presentations inside of the library, and also perhaps work on the lighting, maybe rearrange the room a little bit so that the bookshelves so we have another space for seating. Recently, we had our Goya visit the library, and that was so exciting. One of the first questions that they asked is, are there any links? So interesting that they want to see what they can online. And we do have links. We've cataloged our holdings online. We have our bulletin and other materials online. And so it was wonderful having them in the library. We have announced a bus trip for the spring. Many of you remember from the 1960s and 1970s, the bus trips that we used to take down to the seminary grounds. We will be visiting the Holy Cross Chapel, which indeed was built by the funds raised from the Goya. There was national campaigns. They raised tremendous amounts of money to build the chapel. The Maliotis Cultural Center, Crisula Kukunti, the new director, is hosting us there. It's beautiful. It's been updated. The Archbishop Yagamos Library, a world-class library, will be visiting. And on the top floor, and many of you I know have not seen, the Archbishop Yagamos collection, which is his personal artifacts of Archbishop Yagamos. And it's a museum on the top floor. It's beautiful. So I can't wait to see that myself. We've told you of the book that was donated by George Kapatis, the copy of the book, The Greeks of Manchester, History of the Greek Colony. This book is very rare. It was independently published by a fellow by the name of George A. Papageorge. And translations, we're translating it into English thanks to George Chapotzis and George Kitsis. They've done about 90% of the book. We'll be having a spring event. We'll be presenting the book and the findings. And just recently, an original copy of this book was donated by historian Nicholas M. Previs from Baltimore, Maryland. So that's very, very wonderful. And what we want to do by the time we have our grand reopening is to create a church book, update our history and our milestones, and also the history of the organizations. We'll be doing this with resources from the library and also external resources, and there are a lot of these to consider. I mentioned to Phil it would be great to form a history committee to work on the church milestones and the list of priests and of the board of directors. So if you take a look at the list that we have currently, which is in the blue, and compare it to the 1907 Greek American Guide by Seraphim Kanoudas, you see there's a priest named Photiadis that's mentioned in Manchester in 1907 is not on our list on the left. And there's countless references that we can use to, I mean, not one is authoritative. We have to go to a bunch of references to update this history. Here is the 1915 Helmnis Guide. And again, this Sardunis, Father Sardunis, that's mentioned here, is not in our list. Okay, so we've taken sort of the history of the Evangelismos, which was one faction in the early church, and that sort of got mixed in. So somehow we have to figure this all out. There are other sources as well. There are city directories now. So we know so much more than what we did when we first wrote our history. So we can go into the city directories and see what was listed or offered then. And now we're seeing the board of directors. Spiro Canteris, by the way, the spellings of the names are a hoot, what they did with the names. Spiro Canteris had the first Greek American newspaper, first Greek language newspaper in the state. Before we get started with the video screening, which will be in a few minutes, wanted to answer the question of how to get involved. We do need help in all the areas, and we've put the word out in the bulletin. Please stop by and visit us. We're there generally on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It is good to call and let us know you're coming, because we have other people that schedule in meetings during this time. But in general, we're there then, except for the lunch hour. Please visit our website. Please go to About Us and go to St. George Memory, and you'll see links to our archive, to the online catalog, and to the updates for the project. Before we start the video, there's something that we found in the St. George Observer, the historic bulletin of the church, and it really paints the picture. Now, this is the year that I left Manchester and I went off to college. So this was 1980, and you can see all of the activity that was going on, and the participation and the cooperation between all of the Orthodox churches in Manchester. They're all listed here, or their events are listed here. So we have this published in the bulletin, and it's just really, really wonderful, wonderful history, and it brings back a good time. We're talking about a collective memory, a common history and a collective memory that we're drawing out. And the video will start with a lot of background noise, and thanks again to Linda Martin. Enjoy.
Oh my God, some of these pictures are old. There's my mother. Oh no.
Back up. Look at the one behind me. All right.
I'll stand. Okay. Such a pretty dress you have on. Isn't that cute? Gorgeous color.
Irene Carnabas, immediate past unprecedented.
Okay.
Hey, with Irene Carnabas, immediate past president who served an unprecedented 3 terms.
Thank you.
Yay.
So much.
Carnabas with all our little mementos.
And we have a nice little giveaway for a member of the club. And a booklet that tells about
mentioned that.
Raising 6 kids, you know?
John and Catherine Geekus, Larry and then Timber. And Geekus.
That's Jimmy Geekus.
Simply.
How's your duty?
My name is Michael Dariamis, and this is my wife.
My name is Rula Mitsopolis. This is my husband, Zach. Hello, my name is Elena Johnson. Congratulations to the Noam. We need 15 years more.
My name is Joe Martino, and I'm having a hell of a time.
I was told.
Say your name. What am I going to... My name? Elsie Martino. Been a member since 1951. No auxiliary. I'm Morris Spears, and I've been a member since 1951. I wasn't even born then, but that's okay. Don't you wish? My name is Biddy Applebaum, and I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm Susan Janos, and I just learned that Elsie Martino wore a dress with feathers years ago at one of the fashion shows. We won't tell you where the feathers were.
Remember that one?
Hi, I'm Tom Janis, and I'm thrilled to be here. It is right now 2 o'clock, and I was told this was supposed to be over with at 2. So I don't know what happened. It's tea time at 2 o'clock, so we're leaving.
You can leave. I'm Mel Champalis, and we're having a good time.
What shall I say? We used to have a lot of fun. Your name? My name is Ellen Swapinski. I belong forever.
Noah Club member.
And David. Super time.
Many yours.
Say something. Shed the malice. It feels like yesterday.
That's okay.
Not a member, I really miss the Dora Macaronas, so we're having a great time.
How are you? I'm George.
Hi, I'm Doubly. Nice day.
All right?
Hi, I'm Dan. Happy anniversary. Good to you.
I'm Nick. Happy anniversary.
I'm Nick Better Half Fanny. Happy anniversary. Name, Mary. Mary, name.
Mary.
Mary Winters. You forgot?
Gus Kukas.
Been here for 50 years.
We got one more coming.
How are you?
Hello. I'm Irene Conover.
Jim Dimitri here. Having a great time.
Daisy Patrick. Hey, Kazak and Steve Florida, just for this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Steve Barkis.
Past president.
Yeah, I'm one of the past presidents.
One of them joined 1926, just a bowl. So I bowled against the girls.
Georgia Bethune Mackey. And I'm here with a charter number I have a million.
Louis Mackis. Bill wasn't 46, just a bowl. I went to play basketball. 1946 for Ace Liakis.
Tell the story.
No.
Now, go ahead.
Was that the one at the Coconut Grove? Coconut Grove. Yeah, Coconut Grove, we try to rent it. So we try to rent it on a percentage basis. And the guy says, nope, you have to pay me the entire rent, $75. I said, okay. So it was right after the war, not too many dances around. I got Teddy Herbert. I said, Teddy, will you play on percentage? He said, sure. Well, the line went down Lowell Street, way up past Morrow's, up to Bridge Street. People coming in to dance. The owner of the Coconut Grove said, wait a minute, he says, let's change the I said, let's change nothing. And that was one of the best dances we ever ran. Door Club.
Charlie McKinnis, Martha Coquinas, Athena Dalbert, and Kristen.
Georgia Timberis.
1949. And my wife was president of the auxiliary.
Yeah, right after.
First one.
Yeah.
To the 50th celebration of the Noah Auxiliary. It gives me great pleasure to see so many happy faces here today. At this time, I would like to introduce to you Cuddy Hartefellas from the Noah Men's Club. Mr. Hartefellas.
Well, it's good to see all these smiling faces here this afternoon, and it's an honor and a privilege to see the Noah Club and the auxiliary together, breaking bread together. And I'm representing the Noah Club. I'm the vice president, and my president, John DeMalis, is out. Let's see, where is he? In Rochester, nephew or grandson or something like that. And Steve Zotis went south, and I went to New York to see an animal. Right. Okay, I went around this afternoon asking a few inquisitions about the Noah Club, because I got into the Noah Club, I think, about 20 years ago, or right after I got out of the military, 1970 or something like that. And little history I got of the Noah Club started back in 1935 with Father Pascalaki and a crew. Very few, a handful of people. And the nucleus of these people were, that I got from these people here that are today, George Julius and Kokomus and San Dacos. They were the nucleus of the Noah Club at that time, and they originated all different areas of the city. They started in 1945. They moved over to the Mohegan Market. And at that time, they were there for a little time, and what happened is a fire broke out. How it broke out, there's 3 or 4 different ways how that fire broke out. Something happened that night, and I think Bill was around, and it was destroyed. Certain things were destroyed. In 1948, after the fire, they moved over to the Hellenic Community House. That was on Pine Street, I believe, and also voted to accept space rented above at the Puritan for future club room meetings. The club had to find new quarters and moved to Spruce Street, between Elm and Chestnut. Where that was located at, I don't know, on Spruce Street. 35 Spruce Street. Next to Van Otis's. So this is old history coming back from everybody. By 1960, they voted to abolish the club quarters and hold periodic dinner meetings, many of which were held at the Roy's restaurant. That was on South Willow, I believe. And some at the Puritan's Choral Room. And then I think back in give me help here, somebody, when we moved over to from the Puritan and to the Roy's, where do we go from there? we dissolved the war years, I think. Yeah, the war years came and there was no participation in meetings. Then 4 or 5 years from 1940 to 45, there was an auxiliary group of young fellows I heard, but they weren't old enough to succeed. The old timers just left, and that's the history of what I know of it. And those who have other secrets can let me know later on, so we can get them an agenda next time we meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hippocrates, for filling in short notice. But the NOAA Auxiliary was started in 1949, June 14th. It was at a meeting where Arthur Kears, who was NOAA Club president at the time, opened the meeting and he explained the Constitution. Then he assisted in selecting temporary officers, and the first president was Esther Graham. And thanks, Frank, for coming and representing her. The vice president was Emily Mermingus, secretary Jenny Tappas, and treasurer Stavrula Thiel. When the meeting adjourned, refreshments were served by the NOAA Club members. Ably assisting were this is in our minutes, ably assisting were two of their most eligible bachelors, Harry Thiel and George Champralis. They served the ladies. At first, some of the meetings and the events were held jointly with the NOAA Club. In October 49, this is just after we had started, the NOAAs decided they wanted to use the Hellenic Hall for a Halloween party. The girls voted unanimously to have the party at the club quarters. So it was held there. Everyone was to donate 25 cents toward the cost of the event. The meetings were held every week at 7:30 p.m. every week, followed by league bowling, which started at 9. We had to meet there because many of the ladies weren't driving yet, and we just had to carpool to get to bowling. And started at 9. When we finished bowling, we went for refreshments, and we thought nothing of getting home after midnight. We all had our husbands babysitting, so we didn't mind staying out late. Now the meetings are held monthly, and the members dash out to be home by 9 o'clock. Age does make a difference. The bowlers start at 6:30, and after coffee stop, they're home much earlier than midnight. At the November 30, 1949 meeting, Arthur Kears clarified the question of joint meetings. Apparently the fellows were beginning to have second thoughts about starting the auxiliary. He said, we will have these only when there's business to be discussed and social affairs to be planned. And then he mentioned that the NOAA Club wants to buy a television set. This is 1949. And he wondered if there were any objections. The men were planning to pay for it, so the auxiliary didn't object. They said, go ahead, buy one. And at this meeting, a motion was made to have a Christmas party and also bring a 25-cent gift to exchange, 1949. At the April 1951 meeting, it was reported the NOAA Club thought, gee, no auxiliary doesn't have much to show for it being started up here, and decided to have a joint meeting to thrash it all. I don't know if they were ready to get rid of us back in 51, but we stuck it out. The NOAA Club held cabarets. They called them cabarets back then, and the ladies assisted. And I think they used to have one every month. They used to make good money at those dances. Those days are gone. In 1954, the auxiliary planned a dance admission to be $1.50. The auxiliary used to have many affairs. Used to have dances and fashion shows and card parties and Christmas parties for the children and all kinds of fundraisers. Now we raise some money with the 2020 Club. After we left Lower Spruce, I think we went from there to Manchester, and then we started meeting, and then we lost that lease or whatever it was. In 1961, we started holding meetings at the home of Kay Kazakis on Cohas Ave. Because of space restraints, it was voted on to limit membership to 50 women. And we heard about that. There was a lot of people upset, but there was no space for more members. And then, starting in 1967, the meetings were held at the St. George Community Center, which was just opening up, brand new. And then we opened up the membership. The scholarship award was started in 1961 with $100 given to the highest ranking Greek Orthodox student graduating from any of the Manchester high schools. In 1977, prices are going up. It was increased to 200, 1984, 300, and now 97, the amount that we gave out was $400 for scholarship. And from 1949 till 1972, if you notice in your booklets, all the officers served 1 year, and it was easy to get officers. Everybody wanted to be nominated and elected, and after that, it was getting harder and harder. In 1973, the terms were usually for 2 years, and then we got Irene Carnivus. She was the only president to serve for 3 consecutive terms. And with her enthusiasm and dedication, the membership increased significantly. So know a man, you need an Irene Carnivus to get your membership up. And there are many, many other things, and I hope you've all had a chance to look at the albums with the pictures. We've been fortunate that we've had very good record keepers in our group, that we have all those minutes. They're still there. Anybody can look at those. And all these pictures that we've had preserved all these years. We've been very fortunate. So we're able to have a little celebration and applaud ourselves. Thanks.
That's enough of speeches. Another short one. I want to thank the co-chair people, Aggie and Vanjie Kajavis. They did a fantastic job for the Noah Auxiliary. I'm proud to be part of the Noah Auxiliary. Thank you, girls. Oh, we're now going to have you help yourself to dessert. Anytime you're ready, if you've digested your food. If not, go back and get some more.
And I want to give you hi, I'm Sandy Leah's night. Happy anniversary. You are happy anniversary. Your name? Cynthia Cody. And happy anniversary. Co-chair. Helen Sweetness. Lamb Martin co-chaired this event with Vanjie. We had a good time doing
I'm the husband of Aggie.
Okay? Hi, I'm Tasha Judge.
Helen and Judith. I love to be a non-member.
Yeah, happy anniversary. 50 years.
Smile.
Hi, my name is Barbara Papasanasio, and I'm happy to be an OM member.
Okay.
I'm Amanda Trellis. I'm a guest of Barbara Papasanasio, and I want to congratulate the No Auxiliary. What a beautiful. I want to finish this build now.
Well, that completes the, I'm going to ask everyone to unmute in case they want to say something. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Let's see, can I do this for everybody? Ask participants to unmute themselves. Okay, you're all able to unmute yourselves if you'd like. Phil, I just wanted to say we had a little bit of a hiccup with people from Facebook. They were watching the video, but they wanted to join in on the Zoom. And I share my apologies, say that it was asking for a passcode. And in certain situations, you are asked for a passcode. The original link that we shared had the passcode embedded. And that's why some of you didn't have to put it in. You could just click on the link. And that's really the idea. So for those of you that are watching on Facebook, I did post the passcode there. If you want to join us now, you can. And we'll be careful about that going forward. So does anyone have anything they want to say? You could just unmute yourself. I see we have Christos is here.
Yeah, right. Let me tell you, that was a trip down memory lane. I'm a little bit older than you and Phil. In fact, my kids tell me I'm a lot older than you and Phil. However, and by the way, my daughter lives in Stratham, just to let you know.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Anyway, I knew many of those folks in that video, and it was quite a trip. But it does bring out something to me very, very important in terms of, in fact, my wife and I were discussing this morning on our Florida walk this morning. Sorry about that, but you know, we're talking about how much of the history that we had lost over the years just by not recording people that we knew. Namely, in our case, my brother-in-law's father, Chris Krakulis, who was a real old timer and knew much of the history of Manchester and the great community within Manchester. And unfortunately, we never sat him down and at least videoed him and gotten his perspective. So, but you folks you're doing a wonderful job, and I'm inclined, even in my old decrepit age, as my kids keep constantly reminding me of perhaps joining you in your efforts to add whatever I can add. So I'll drop a email to you and let you know what's going on in my life, and then you can tell me what, if anything, I'm available to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And it's really quite a journey, I think, for a lot of us. And we have these Tuesday night sessions. I know you're aware of that. And someone said, a younger person had joined this past week, and they said, well, that was before my time. Well, it really wasn't, you know, maybe your parents or, you know, someone, you know.
Sure.
So
yeah.
It's a continuum, but we have a problem with, you know, that what you said about, I wish we would have taped this person talking, you know, giving the history. They knew a lot. It's always after the fact that we realize that, you know.
Unfortunately, that's what history is made or not made of.
Exactly. I see Sophia Annis is on. Sophia, did you want to say something? You can click unmute if you go down to the bottom where your microphone is on the bottom of your screen.
I just did. Glad to watch. It was interesting to see some of the people. I didn't recognize everybody, but and the audio wasn't the best, but it was nice. It's nice to go back and you know, see people who, unfortunately, most of them are gone. A lot of those people are gone now, but it was thank you for asking me. It was nice to see. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You know, right before this, when we were trying to get the names down of everyone, even if it was a quick cameo, and I couldn't pick it up either because of it wasn't loud enough, or I just didn't know the people. Yeah. Phil was there, and we went in the library. We have all of the journals going all the way back. They kept really good notes. And there were these books that they had which were alphabetized, and they had like name stickers. So we could quickly go, okay, what's that name, Didasis? And then he goes to the D's and boom, yeah, that's who it is. So, you know, there's just wonderful things that we're finding in the library. This is the first time we've looked at these things, you know? So it's pretty interesting. Someone named Hanny joined, and I'm going to unmute you if you want to say hello. We're at the end of the meeting. We've already showed the film, but it is going to be available on demand, you know, so you can do that. Phil, is there anything that you wanted to say?
Can you hear me now?
We can.
I'm just hoping, who knows, maybe there are some other videos out there, and encourage people to look into their attics, wherever they might be storing these materials. And Maletti and I can take a look at them and see what we can do.
Yeah,
I just want to thank everybody for their interest and support as well. We really appreciate it. And Chris, I look forward to talking to you sometime.
Well, we'll be there. Unfortunately, we had some bad news this week, so we have to head back up. I don't know if you remember my brother-in-law, Angelo Pantelli.
Yes.
Yeah, passed away on Saturday morning. So we don't know where the funeral is yet, but we'll have to be back up as soon as we can. So but hey, Greeks have a word for it, or saying "Etsi in Zoi" and "Zoi semas." That's what you do. We go on and on. This is a wonderful thing to look at, the past, but better to look to the future too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Wow. Well, Chris, you probably heard that we're there on Tuesdays and Thursdays generally. So
in the evening or afternoon or
all day 9 to 5, except for the lunch hour. Oftentimes we'll skip out for that.
Yeah. Well, I tend to well, let's just say that even though I live in York, the back room is exactly 59 minutes from my house, door to door, and I usually get there by Thursday night to visit some colleagues of mine. So I'll combine the trip this time around.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, and we could always stay later too if we know you're coming. Not a problem.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll just I'll make sure I've got that email, and I'll make sure you're going to be there when I get there, and we'll go from there.
Oh, good. Good. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
It was really great. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you. And if you can join us on the Tuesday night sessions, it's a lot of fun. We got through August of 1962, and so we'll be starting from there from September or October of 1962 and continuing this coming Tuesday at 7 p.m. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.